Hello and welcome to a new update here from my Lego City project called Brick World, and today we are going to close a big gap here in the front area of my city. As you can see here, you can see the table, it's the wood from the table, and want to create a completely new model for today's update and finish the model completely for today to close that gap. So if you want to see what's going to be happen today, stay tuned. And as you can see, I have removed one big part of that mountain and that area from the city wall because I need to remove some parts from here, because in the old layout it was a little bit, there was no gap because that was a narrower area, and today we are going to remove that cobblestone and move it to our new model. As you can see, I'm using three base plates, one by 16 by 16 and two 16 by 32. That it's our big model for today. And as you can see, I'm going to build a big part of my cobblestone technique. That means I'm going to use the snot technique, and I'm using headlight bricks that are lying on the back, and then I can add tiles and plates and round plates on the top, and that creates a very nice cobblestone effect. As you can see here, I already used it a lot in the older part of my city, for example in the old city and in front of the city wall, that we're also going to use today on a little part of our new model. And on the other parts we're going to use a more modern technique for the sidewalk, but that's my technique for the cobblestone. As you can see, it's a little bit blocky, but that is going to be not so at the end of the work today, because I'm going to add plants on the left and the right side, so it looks a little bit more natural. Here you can see the big part of the cobblestone technique for today's model. That's about 48 studs in the going to the back, and the other part is going to be a modern technique with 2x2 tiles, as you can see later in today's update. But that's going exactly like at the end of that front building. That's the building in 10, and behind that there's going to be the brick bank and a restaurant. That's another building, but only on the left side of the 10 colored building I'm going to use the technique with the cobblestone. As you can see, I'm going to build the modern style sidewalk with those 2x2 tiles, and in the gaps I'm adding here, there are going to be some tiles with a stud in the center to add minifigures later to that new model. Now I'm going to build a little tree, because I think a tree is always a big good part in a model, because it adds some more natural feeling to it. I'm using a technique for that tree I already used for other trees in my city. It's not very complicated, but makes a very nice tree. Now you can see that I'm adding a little path here to the side of the model. That's going to another model in the future. I also placed everywhere here reddish brown and dark brown plates. That's where all the plants and trees and other stuff is going to be later, but that's the underground for that I'm going to build later. So here you can see the model placed at its final location for later, and it's already looking much more better with that filled gap on the table. And you have to have in mind that that place there, you can see the wood on the left, there's going to be the old model later, and in the front area here is going to be some place for kids to play in a future update, not today but in a future update. And now we are going to fill all those reddish brown and dark brown areas. We're adding some bricks, some slopes to add some stones, etc., because we are near the cliff at the river, and I think it's more natural to have some more rocky structures here also behind, or also to add here on that model, because we I think it's more natural if we have some more rocky structures here. And I'm also adding a lot of plants here to make it look very nice. And that's the finished right side part. And we can see now that the cobblestone looks much more realistic because we do not have those blocky edges on the sides. And what we have to do now is we have to make the same here in the other side. That's the part we have to add also, and then we are almost finished for today's update. And some other information, I got some packages. These are a lot of parts for the area behind the train station, where I'm going to build a wall in one of the next updates. As you can see here, where are the blue base plates, there's going to be a wall, and that is something we are going to build in a future update. And then we are going to add some buildings behind the wall or up the wall. Now we can see that I'm using the same technique with some rocky structures and also a lot of plants here behind or on the side of that sidewalk area. And that's the final part for today's update. I added a lot of parts today. I think over 1,500 parts are here in that new model. I'm very glad that I had the time to finish the whole model, to finish that big gap in the front area of my city. That's a final model. I have added some more minifigures and also a little dog here. We have that minifigure from the old layout, and we have here 2 new figures, so we have now 3 new minifigures on that area. That means we have 526 minifigures already in my city. That's a lot, I know, but they're going to be much more in future updates, I think. Now we're going to add the final model back to its location, and we are going to see how it looks, and that's it. You can see that the tree has also been added here. It's very nice here besides, or on the side of that 10 building, and you can see that we have the modern look on that part on the other building. There was the light green area. That's the place where the restaurant is going to be built next or inside the brick bank. And when you are going to look here from the side, it looks much more better when you compare it to the beginning of today's video. In later updates, we are going to build here the other areas to fill all the gaps, because a main goal is to finish all the gap areas in this year, and I just want to have much more finished part. And yeah, bye.